So, welcome and hello to everyone. This is the Kryptonite Show, Season 1, Episode 5, and this is organized by CHILPARCO International. And today we have on the show with us a wonderful human being all the way from Washington, D.C., from the US of A. We have with us Miss Rumit Datta, who is an IT professional. She has been working in the US for 22 long years now, and she works in the government sector in the National Ministry of Health. And not only that, she's a wonderful parent. She's a parentpreneur, and she's particular about the needs of young children, especially when it comes to special education and the needs for special needs children. We also have on the show with us today the Director Delhi's CHILPARCO International, Ms. Dheera Madan. She is also the editor of our e-magazine, Child Parent Connect. Like I said, from the child to the parent and from the parent to the child. And we also have today with us my wonderful friend from Maharashtra, Principal Dr. Ushavati Shetty, who will be here with us giving her expert viewpoints and perspectives when we talk about special education and how the schools support children with special needs. So there we go. And now it's, let's listen to our guest for today, Ms. Rumit Datta. So tell us, why are you so passionate about, I know you said that you will be talking about special education, for the children with special needs. How do you think we all as individuals, I mean, it doesn't matter which corner of the world we belong in, but how should we as individuals support children with special needs? And what is the concept of special education all about, according to you?
Thanks, Alka, ma'am. Thanks. It's wonderful to join all of you and share my thoughts and my ideas and talk about special kids. I've been living in the US for 22 years now, been working full time. I'm an average normal mom, but I think once you have a special child in your life, I mean, just the birth of a child with a disability, or you discover that your child has a disability, it completely changes your world. And I think having that special child made me a completely different person. I had a compassion for community services, but I think having her changed it more. I started working in community services, helping parents in need, especially parents who had health issues with themselves. I worked with them and I realized the value of life. It's not easy to have a special child. It's very hard. There is so much of stress. And you have that fear and you worry about your child all the time. But I think education, school, it's the parents, it's the school system, it is your community which can help your child to grow. It's a very common proverb in Africa that the whole village raises a child. So it's that only a parent cannot raise a child. It has to be the school system, the community, your friends, your family have to be involved in it. We're all kind of interdependent upon each other. Education, definitely. There are so many hidden disabilities your child has, which we don't observe. When your child starts going to a school, the teacher observes them very easily because she's comparing your child with other peers in the classroom and she finds there is something different about this child, even if you don't know. But when you're at home as a parent, you just see your own child and you think everything is normal, unless, yes, my child can't even write a letter A. That's a worry. That is the only worry I have right now. But I don't see any other behavioral or emotional changes in my child very easily. But at the same time, I am the best. I understand my child more than the teacher. But yes, to evaluate my child or assess my child, I'm not an expert in that. And that's where we need assistance or we need help from the school system, from professionals who are expert in these to get your child assessed, to evaluate your child and what the child needs. And this came up I mean, before even my child started school, we had figured out her issues, and we started working before she started preschool. But again, it's not easy for each parent. Some parents don't even figure this out unless their child starts going to school. So I think being a parent gave me that experience that I have to do something about it, not just for my child, but for the other kids around me.
So I would like to ask you, I mean, like you said, you did face some challenges, you know.
Yeah.
So, and that made you stressful. But how did you present yourself before your child? Because you know what happens at times, I've noticed parents get very hysterical, and
Yes, you're right.
and then they start, putting out their stresses over. They pass it on over to their children, and their child starts wondering that, maybe I am a good for nothing. Some children can feel it. Sometimes children
Yes,
need love. They just need empathy. They just need someone to listen to them. So how
right, right.
Bridget, how did you manage the situation?
Uh, Initially, before when we started working with her, it was a lot of challenge in the sense that I was always in a fear how I would. I mean, I couldn't even bear her pain and sufferings because they were physical pains basically,
Hmm.
and definitely there was limitation that we could not do certain activities, and but at the same time, I think during this time, sometimes I believed I was a little hard on her, but then slowly, I figured out I have to have patience. I have to accept it. I
Yeah,
have to
that's
accept this.
important.
So if I don't accept it, I'm not going to reach my goals. I won't. And then
Hmm.
also, it also depends upon the child. Some kids are very aggressive, they're very hard, and some go with the flow. And I was lucky in that way because my child was very aggressive. She did not back out. We went for therapy sessions, we went for occupational therapies. She
Wow,
was kind of, I think she was the one who motivated me that she can do it. She
lovely.
actually was the one. Yes. I used to take her to the therapist, and there were certain things which she couldn't do. And the therapist would say, okay, I give up. Let's do it next time. And she would say, no, I'm going to do it. We're going to try again. And she would not give up. And I think that attitude of her made me very, very strong. And then finally, I said, no, I have to go with the flow. I have to be patient. I have to work accordingly. I cannot just jump to conclusions. Oh, you have to do this. No. So we had to work very, very hard. But again, this won't be the same for each parent. Each parent
Yeah,
will go through different challenges,
their
through
own
different
ways.
hurdles. They will have, the child could have a different, because see, if a child has an emotional behavior problems, then it's a huge problem for them. Then they have to reach out to experts on how to control that. So you have therapy in US, you have so many therapists in different sections that you can reach out to them
That's
to
wonderful.
figure out, oh, this is what they have to do. And the parents have to work in coordination with them. So I cannot say, okay, I'm going to raise my child and I'm going to do my therapy myself. No, I have to rely on experts for that. And that's what I did. And definitely my daughter was pretty strong in that. So I think, yes, it is again, I think the child motivates you to becomes you, makes
The
you
child
stronger.
is the father of man. That's why I say,
Yes,
child,
child
we
makes you
learn
stronger.
from them. Yeah, we learn from them. But tell me, in the US, so do they have in the school? I mean, I don't know which grade your girl is in, but do they have counselors and special educators and
Oh, yeah. In my area, in my county schools, your child when starts school, every child is automatically evaluated and assessed in school. It doesn't
okay,
matter your child's ability or your child is. So they assess the child, they evaluate the child, his reading levels, his numbers level. So then
that's
some
good.
parents who don't even know that their child has a hidden disability, they within weeks they know this is what service they need, your child needs it. And all these services are provided in public schools and they're free of charge. For me, what happened, we already knew her disability, which was physical, not mental. So we kind of had started working earlier. It was an early intervention program which you have, which is basically even before you start school. So
Mm,
the county, the government county, they give you a therapist who works with you. They first evaluate your child. You have a psychologist. You have different people coming into your place. They evaluate your child and they tell you, oh, this is what is wrong with your child. But then some parents who don't even know their disability, they're accessed by the school when they start school. And then your own private therapist can also work with the school. Besides that, the school system have their own therapists, they have their own counselors, they have the principal, the teachers, they all evaluate on a different level. And then once they have evaluated the child, they have assessed the child, they know, okay, this is what is lacking. We have a conference, I think it's called an IEP, which is individualized education program for special kids. And the teachers and parents, they all meet together and they discuss the issues. And then they set up goals. This is what we're going to do for the next 1 year. But they're going to, at the same time, keep a watch on the child for the next 6 months. And if they see that it's not helping, they meet again within the next 3-4 months and reevaluate again to make those changes. And that's how every year I used to meet them when she was growing up. She's now a 10th grader. So I followed that IEP program. We had sometimes meeting once a year and sometimes twice in a year. And even my private therapist used to go and attend the school and give her special services. That means she was individually taken out of the classroom, given special services. And then the counselors at school and even the therapist at school did the same thing. So we had time slots, or this is the day she would be out of the classroom.
Working in collaboration, as
collaboration.
That's wonderful.
That really, the school system definitely did help a lot, yes. And that changed everything.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Dr. Shetty, in India also we have inclusive education, and we have in schools now it's mandatory to have counselors, special educators. What is your take on this? How are we helping our children with special needs in schools of India currently, especially after the NEP, the National Education Policy of 2020?
Okay. So Alka ma'am, I was listening to Rumin earlier, and two things I feel is very, very crucial in this matter. One is awareness and second is acceptance. When we talk about inclusive education, we need to be first aware that the child is differently abled. The child is not disabled, the child is differently abled. And another thing is, once we have identified the child, acceptance from the parents, that also becomes very, very critical. As a teacher, the teacher is teaching a group of students in the classroom wherein there are probably 25-30 students, and the teacher is able to identify. But when as a parent, the child is with the parent, for a parent, however the child is their child. So identifying it right at the early age becomes very critical. At the same time, when we, as you rightly said, in India as well, not because of the NEP, earlier also, I think for the past couple of decades, we have counselors in every school, and the role of the counselor is to it becomes very important, because when the class teacher identifies it, it goes to the counselor, and the counselor's role is important here because the counselor is a trained person who understands the difference, and informing to the parents, that becomes very important from the counselor's part. But at the same time, what I have noticed is, once we approach the parents, and when we are trying to make sure that we are trying to convey it to the parents, there somewhere there is a slight bit of gap, I feel. And as early as we can diagnose, and as early as we can start the process of the inclusive education, or trying to give different kind of education in the existing school scenario, that becomes very important in the early education. So as Rumit ma'am rightly said, in US there are a lot of counselors, there are a lot of therapists. At the same time, the acceptance becomes very important, because until and unless I am accepting the fact that my child is different and my child requires a different kind of education, and the child cannot cope with the normal school curriculum, there it becomes critical for the child's growth and development. This is what my take on this is. So acceptance and awareness, these are the two key points I would focus on, ma'am, here.
Great. Acceptance and awareness, very rightly said. And at the same time, I also feel that, like I say, every child is, different, every child, every child has a special quality. So I
Right.
would always think that, we need to encourage that special quality of the child. So what are the motivational strategies to, to work with children? These, I would call them gifted children, because they definitely have an edge, they have some kind of a power or a talent or some kind of creativity, which is very good. I remember my one student, he had this guy, he was a special need child. The fact was, he was a brilliant quizzer. The moment I made it a point that every assembly, at least once in a week, I would ask him to be the quiz master. And he was a totally different person altogether. So I feel we need to motivate the children, not only the children who are good or who themselves come forward, but then some children, because of they somehow know that, they are a little different, though you said they're differently able, we do say all that, but somewhere deep down, this thing is there in their mind. So how do we encourage them? We need them to feel that they're just the same. It's just that every individual is different, and every individual at the same time is unique. This has to be done. So any motivational strategy that particularly worked? First, I will check with Rumit, and then Dr. Shetty, and then also I would like Dheera to ask a question after this. Yes. Yes, Rumit. Yes.
Okay, I believe that yes, all the children are differently abled, so it is harder for some kids to accept it, and it's easier for some kids to accept. Okay, this is what they need. But there are a lot of communities where these people can meet. You can take your kids to these special communities. You don't have to be, all of them don't have to be a disabled kid. You can have average kids there.
Right.
And at the same time, a normal kid in the class also needs to know about these special kids. They have to be aware of what is happening in the classroom.
Yes.
This child needs support. I think the peer friendship, the friendship with their
Very
friends,
good. Yes.
that support is very important.
Mm.
And a lot of kids are not lucky in that they get bullied, and some are definitely, they get a chance to have good friends. And I think even a small disability child can understand another child who has a more severe disability. And I've seen that in my child. She doesn't have a severe disability, she has a physical one, but she understands other kids who have severe. So whenever there is a discussion in the class, she is the one to debate about it, because she knows, she understands more, and she can talk about it. And I keep on telling her, you're going to be a psychologist, because she understands. She's gone through that process. So I think even for a small, say some small birthday party, these special kids are not even invited. I think as a parent, I know that I have in my classroom, I have a friend, there's a friend in my child's classroom who is a special child. I think as a community service, we should invite those kind of people, let them be with their friends, let them give them little happiness, smile, and motivation. That community
very
service is
very important.
because otherwise we can't help anybody. As a parent, you can't only help your child, you need
we need
help.
to remove certain stigmas. We need to
remove we need to remove
stigmas which relate to such children. And everyone, we keep on talking about it, that the world is one big family, everyone is brothers and sisters, but still, this is just saying.
Yes.
When it's just only practicing it, it's not happening. So we really need to put certain things into action. And I would just say that if all of us even take little steps on our part, to help someone like this, I think we go a long way. I mean,
we'll make a big difference.
It will make a difference. It may be a little step, but then as they say, every drop in the ocean counts. Every counts. So every little step does count. So very well spoken. And Dr. Shetty?
Alka ma'am, here I would like to highlight upon one thing. We experience that I would like to share. Very recently, a couple of months back, I had taken my students to a special school. The idea behind that was, if you remember, we had spoken about
I remember.
it. Yes. The idea behind that was our children, who we term as normal, should also know that there is a kind of different strata of society where such kind of education is also provided. See, as of today, we talk about inclusive education, yes, but then how much of it is really implemented? An
Yes.
autistic child, for example, if you are a parent, autistic child, will you be accepted in the normal schooling? Very few schools will allow the child to be a
Yeah.
part of their group. So
Yeah.
I wanted, our children of today, I always say that our children of today are future generations of tomorrow, so they should know that there is something that is different. There is and I'll not say abnormal, because everybody is different. Like just now ma'am also mentioned that we differently abled is a totally different word that we use. Every person is having a different set of skills, a different set of talents. A person might not be good in studies, but the person might be a good sports person. Einstein is a very good example of that. So when we talk about tomorrow's generation, we need to build a society. We might perish tomorrow, but we need to build a society which is tolerant to every strata. We cannot call it normal or abnormal. So that was the only idea behind when I took my children, a group of older students, standard 11 and
Fantastic.
12 students, I took them to a school which caters to special children, and they spent time there, and they spent the valuable takeaways from there were that even though they are not going to the normal school, they are much more disciplined. When we entered, we were greeted with a smile, we were greeted with a prayer, we were shown the products that they make there. There were wall hangings that they were making, there were greeting cards that they were making, there were artificial floral baskets that they were making. So it was a kind of a totally different outlook for the children who are normally coming to the school and studying the curriculum that the government has prescribed for them. So somewhere, we need to inculcate that value and culture in our students of today, so that they know that tomorrow when they are going out into the open world and they are dealing with people in the real world, it is a world which has many different spheres to it. So when we talk about the special students, special children, they have skills in them. There might be an amazing artist there, there might be an amazing actor there might be a person who has a lovely voice, can go
Yeah.
ahead and become a wonderful singer. So that was the only idea behind. So somewhere, when we as educators are molding the future generation, we need to inculcate these kind of values also into them, so that we have a beautiful and a wonderful world tomorrow. When we go away,
Absolutely.
there is a beautiful set of
Yes.
population who is taking care of the differently able, should I put it that way,
Yes,
ma'am?
passion. In addition to what you said, I think compassion for everyone is important.
Yes, compassion.
Compassion. These are words that I feel are always, underestimated or overestimated. So somehow they're not used in the right spirit. And yes, I think teaching them skills for life, and we're talking about sustainable development. We're talking about things that can sustain, or learning that can sustain. I think by this project or little activity or little, experience that the children went through actually gave them, learning for life, because they will learn to be more tolerant and more compassionate towards people, such as the ones that they met. So I guess this is what is the need of the hour, actually throwing them into situations where they can actually learn, and not just giving them thoughts, theory all the time. They need to learn skills, very important. Dhira, next question from you, please.
Ramita, I'm not talking specifically of differently abled children who can manage the differently abled aspect. I'm talking about those who are really, really dependent on their parents or a caregiver or a teacher or somebody. How do they manage in life?
Again, it's a joint effect of the parents, the school system, and the community and the friends. So the special ed kids who have severe disabilities, who can't take care of themselves, still have to go to school here. So there is it's a law here that they have to be in school. So they have special buses coming to pick them up. They have a special person who receives them at the school, is taken to the specific class they need to be in. So the school system takes care of all that. Besides that, if the child is at home, then there are a lot of community services who come home and take care of your child. Because if both the parents are full-time working and need to be out of the house. But during this pandemic time, it was very hard for those parents. One of the parents had to leave their jobs because they couldn't, because the school system was closed. So I think special kids did have they faced a lot of hurdles during this pandemic time. But again, community services, it's very important because they are the people you can depend upon here. And you can't depend upon your family and your friends all the time because everyone have their own life. But at the same time, I believe that special kids, we can have a net. In fact, there's a lot of network, a secure network around our community services where, say, suppose somebody needs help and an email or a call goes to those who are involved in that community, and people do reach out and offer their help. I did this for one special person. She had a brain surgery and she couldn't do anything, and her husband was working full time. I used to go and help her with cooking. I helped her with laundry. In fact, I brought her clothes back home. I took her for doctor trips. I think I learned all this on there. And you will find these kind of people all around you. Yes. So I have been lucky to see these people around me helping people with special needs. Maybe it is an adult or a parent or a child.
And how do you cope? Sorry, carry on.
And this pandemic has taught us a lot during this time. Yeah. It was hard for parents to sit in front of the computer with their special child and that child sitting in front of the teacher. It was very, very hard. And some of the parents actually gave up because they couldn't take it. And so did the child, because an autistic child doesn't understand. It takes more effort to explain that child. He has to sit in front of the computer to talk to the teacher. It's very, very hard. And I think going forward, now the school systems have opened, the school system is back. I think all the kids are back in school, and I'm glad we are all back in school, because special kids, they need to be in school. They have to be in school. That's what they need.
And my second question is, how did you deal with the fatigue of a caregiver? How did you, I'm sure there have been moments when you were so tired or frustrated or angry. We are all human, and you can't have a life of your own. The focus is on the child. You can't go anywhere. It's the child. So how did you overcome that stress? Did you think about something?
Well, the fact that when I was through this process, there was a lot of fear, worry, your child suffering. There was also guilt because there were certain limitations your child could not do. And then you had to lose attention. You could not even focus on your other kids, or you couldn't focus on your family or your aged parents or your spouses. And sometimes, you even have a little jealousy or resentment to other normal kids because of that. But then slowly, and you feel isolated at the same time. But I think the child, once I accepted it, I started focusing that her future is my focus. And I cannot leave that behind. Since I've accepted it, I've become patient, and I started witnessing miracles. And that's when that made me strong and strong. And she helped me a lot in this. So when I saw her strong, I said, okay, if she's trying to be strong, I have to do the same. Amazing. And I think,
very nice.
I saw so many miracles, I can't even tell you. I remember taking her to a doctor when she was a little child, and the doctor told me she won't be able to tie a lace ever, a shoelace. And I said, that's okay. But no, she said, no, I'm going to try this. I'm going to tie a shoelace. And she did it. So I can tell you it came from her, and that made me strong. But yes, there was a lot of emotional stress. At the same time, you have to start learning about the disability. That's the most important thing, because the disability your child has, you have to learn every detail about it. Yeah. So you have to know, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do that, that's going to happen. So learning that, finding resources, or even finding the effective treatment, even writing her first letter A or B, or even cutting a piece of paper was very hard, but I think it was a difficult time, but I think we did pass that unplanned journey and we are still doing it.
Lovely.
Beautiful,
Inspiring.
beautiful.
Doctor, maybe you can direct the question to Dr. Shetty also, Dhira.
Dr. Shetty, in your school, how are you looking after different kinds of differently able? There might be a, you know, a hearing
visually
impaired
impaired.
child, a blind child, an autistic child.
Mm.
Are your teachers trained, or even for the special educator, how does he or she cater to so many different kind of differently able children?
Okay. Ma'am, I would say that, the government also gives a lot of preferences and a lot of help in identifying and in bringing up or educating such kind of children. Like we here in Mumbai, we have the Thane Municipal Corporation. In the education department, there is a special section for special students, and the members from there, they do visit the school and they help us with for example, if the child is having hearing impairment, so they provide certain aids to the child so that it's easy for the child to hear. There are students who are not able to see well, so those who have vision issues, the textbooks with bigger font is provided so that the child, same textbook, same curriculum with the other students are following. Just because the child is not able to view properly, it should not, he or she should not be left behind. So the government provides such kind of textbooks to the students free of cost. They are not charged for that, and they help us in getting the testing process done. When they come with the team, they identify, and if they feel that there are certain kind of tests that they need to do, they direct the parents to the respective hospitals or centers or professionals who can get the proper test done and get the identification done properly. And as a school, if we find that the child is having learning disability, we provide extra time to the child when the child is writing the paper. We provide extra, we call it as a writer. A writer is provided,
Right.
a reader is provided, so that the child is able to understand. The child who is not able to read the paper well, but he knows, he understands. So paper is read to the child. If the child is having learning writing disability, the child is provided with a writer, and also extra time is given. So there are parents also who volunteer. There are NGO people who come forward to provide such kind of assistance when we require. Even in the board examinations, even in the public examination, 10th and 12th standard, in whichever curriculum board it is, ICSE, CBSE, IB, state board. So such kind of help is also provided. So it becomes very easy or helpful, a helping hand. Like Rumit ma'am was mentioning, that that more than monetary, that compassionate approach is something that really gives an upper edge to the whole scenario. So that is how we deal in our education system here in Mumbai.
Thank you, ma'am. Very well spoken. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I mean, it's quite very insightful, and at the same time, it's necessary that we just don't talk about it, but yes, we need to act on whatever is being said. And all this is a huge inspiration to parents who have children with special needs. They are also geniuses. We just need to understand where their uniqueness lies. I think this is what we need to understand. So before we actually say bye-bye, I want each and every one of you to share a kryptonite message regarding special education and the needs for special and the need and something about children of special needs. Yeah.
I would just say to all the parents that you're not alone in this unplanned journey. Let's give these special kids a chance to succeed, and education is one of them. Let's focus on their strengths and not on their weaknesses. Thanks.
Wonderful. Dr. Shetty, a kryptonite.
Yes, ma'am. I would say that, everybody is different. Everybody has a different set of skills and talents. So instead of, shunning them away or, isolating them, we should have inclusive education in every school system, every education system. We just need to increase their self-confidence. That is all that is needed in today's world. I see that,
Absolutely.
a topper of today might not do well in his career tomorrow, but a person who is self-motivated, who knows that, even if he fails tomorrow, he can stand up and do something. And there are many cases I have seen, ma'am, in the lockdown. The normal students, if I talk about it, the pandemic has really impacted the mental health of the students.
Yes.
But when if the child is really motivated, if the child is confident, if that we teach the child that believe in yourself, you are the powerhouse of energy, you can do whatever you wish to. If that is inculcated in the child, every child can achieve whatever he wants. That child might be normal, the child might be autistic, the child might be having some physical disability, or the child might have some learning disability. But when we are inculcating, motivating the child, or self-belief, I feel that will do wonders. That is my take, ma'am.
Absolutely. Marvelous. Marvelous. Dheera, from you, please.
Yeah, ma'am, I would like to say everybody needs to know a little bit of psychology vis-a-vis knowing about the differently abled children.
Yeah.
In high school, it must be taught. For the B.Ed program, it must be a compulsory subject. In colleges, it must be compulsory, because nobody understands another human being or the needs of another human being as far as psychology is concerned. I'm not saying hardcore psychology, but sensitizing them to the needs of the differently abled. Most people are just not aware. When it happens to their children, their families, it comes as a shock, because it comes as a why me? Why did it happen to me and my family?
Yeah.
So we need to make people aware, and it should start at the school level. Definitely start at the school level.
Yes, schools have an important role to play here. Very well said. Yes, definitely. And that's why, as Dr. Shetty also mentioned, inclusive education is important, because we cannot deprive them of the confidence that they will get and about the amazing learning that they will get when they're with everyone together. So everyone is different. Like we have been, I think we're all unanimously agreeing to this, that every child
Absolutely.
is different and every child is unique. And from their uniqueness, every child will learn something new, and that will add to their skill set. This is what learning is about. This is the incredible role that learning does. That, it keeps on giving you insights and perspectives that you never knew you had within yourself. So when a child gets inspired by someone's creativity, they want to try out something creative themselves. That is why I always believe that creativity is intelligence having fun. And then if they're good in something, anything which is their passion, like Dr. Shetty said, music, drawing, dance, drama, speaking, writing, anything, gardening for that matter, whatever they're good at, with that skill set, they can teach to their classmates, to their schoolmates, even to their teachers, we don't know everything. We also need to learn. And like they say that everyone knows something that they can share with the other.
Absolutely.
That is the beauty of lifelong learning, that we keep on learning and we keep on feeling sensitive. We need to sensitize ourselves towards needs of human beings. We need a lot of compassion. We need a lot of tolerance. We need a lot of love. And then only we can have this world to be a truly beautiful place to be in, as all of you have said. And we need to start from where our neighborhoods, our schools nearby, our home, our community, our society. And I do hope that this Kryptonite session has actually inspired all of you to view children and view people, whatever strata they belong to, and howsoever they may be, with different eyes. We learn from everyone. We learn from even, people who are working for us, we learn a lot from them. So they're so confident because they're so confident in their skill. And that's important. We need to, like Rumit said very well, Miss Datta, that, we need this confidence. I think Dr. Shetty also mentioned.
Absolutely.
And self-motivation is important. So I do hope that when everyone just listens to this session, they just get inspired, because that is our main work.
Absolutely.
for the kryptonite message. I hope all of you perhaps knew it, but somewhere, we need to keep on reminding ourselves. These reiterations are actually helpful, because then we realize that, yes, I also need to do something for my child. I need to do something for the children that I see around me who need help. So maybe in our free time, if I can just go and help them out, why not? I think it's as simple as that. And it becomes, we start learning, it becomes a joyful experience. And putting smiles and spreading smiles, I think, is the most priceless thing that one can actually do. So let's do it together, and let's empower, and let's share love, happiness, and smiles together. Thank you so much to each and every one of you to, for this powerful kryptonite dose of spreading smiles and love to make this world a beautiful place. And lots of power to you, Rumit, for, doing all that you're doing for your child. And I do hope she'll become one very successful woman, because you never know, she's going to be known like a global icon in whatever she's good at. I sincerely pray and hope that she becomes that, and your efforts should, actually give the fruit that they so rightly deserve. So yes, and Dr. Shetty, hats off to you, my friend. You're doing a wonderful job. And Dheera, thank you. Thank you so much for those.
Thank you, Alka ma'am. Thank you, Rumit. Thank you, Dr. Shetty.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Rumit
much
and
for
Dr.
having me.
Shetty, very inspired by both of you. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences.
It was wonderful. Dr. Shetty, can we see you for a minute? I'll just take a picture of all four of us.
You can see me, but it is all dark. I'm still in the vehicle.
Okay, yeah, I know Mumbai roads can be quite, but that's going to be a good feature for our buzz, weekly buzz. So, so thank you so much. Thank you once again to everyone. And
thanks, Dheera.
Stay tuned, everyone, to the next Kryptonite edition, where we will have another special guest who will be sharing some powerful tips for people over 40, and for especially for entrepreneurs who feel that they're just sitting at home doing nothing. I'm sure we can all get nice ideas from that. So do stay tuned. Next Thursday, same time, same place. Lots of love to everyone. Keep spreading smiles and making this world a beautiful place to live.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Lots
of love.
Goodbye.
Good luck.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, even though you were traveling. I just love the spirit, I just love the spirit. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.